Now we're able to put instead of our young people going to a factory to work, we go to our own business to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and we have to think of it as that as well. So, we have to get away from what we can't afford and make some decisions about what we can afford. You know what I'm saying? And how, maybe not buying that pair of gym shoes or, maybe deciding that anything could happen to you at any time, that you put something available for your family. Because when I was doing insurance, I would get that I can't afford it. That's not important, but really, it's actually the most important thing if you care about your family and care about yourself. That's my thoughts of that.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I go in, I'll sit down, I observe the house, and I might be at a senior building or something with some older folks, and I start talking about the pictures that's on the wall. Oh, who's that? Oh, this your granddaughter? Oh, who is this? Oh, that's your daughter, that's your son. And start making them reflect on the people that
Mhm.
they're going to hold in the bag.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and ultimately that's going to make them make a decision. And I always write the policy up where it kind of leaves them, the family, a blueprint. So it's almost like and we have some funeral planners that we do. And I'll write down, who you want to leave that, who you want to leave your car to, who do you want to leave that Afghan on the back of that couch to? Because as folks, and I won't just say with black folks, but just with people, we argue about the crazy stuff when somebody died.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so this is like a blueprint to tell the family, hey, look, grandma said that she wanted um, the granddaughter to get her wedding rings or something like that. And so now it's not a whole bunch of arguing, and it's kind of a blueprint and a plan for them to be able to move on. I mean, you'll be amazed at how many times I sit down with the family and I ask, where was grandma from? And they'll say Mississippi. And I'll say, what part of Mississippi? Oh, I don't know. Let me call Auntie now. And then we got to find
Mhm.
out elimination. She was from Tupelo, Mississippi, because we
Mhm.
never that during those important times. So I always kind of on my radio program and some outlets I do is talk about that during Christmas and Thanksgiving. Find out about your loved ones. A lot of times they don't even know grandma's maiden name. We just called her mama or something.
Right.
And we
Right.
don't know those intricate details. And so instead of having a death certificate that have a whole bunch of um, unknowns on it, we'll actually know and we'll be able to write um, a really detailed obituary service because we actually know grandma and her
Going on.
lifestyle. Yeah, we know her
It's
favorite
really
color. We know we're not just going off the top of her head. Well, let's just do it in red. Well, grandma never liked red.
right.
We actually know that her favorite color was purple or green or whatever the case it is, and we can start centering that funeral detailed upon what grandma was like. Or
Really want it. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And a lot of times we don't know, or a lot of times we don't reach out to the people that do know. We just want to do it ourselves. I'm gonna go ahead and write mama obituary, and then you don't know nothing about mama. You know what I'm saying? You don't, and you could have asked her sister or people that was more so in her life when she was younger to get those younger factors. So I
yeah.
understand that. So I'm gonna jump off the subject just a tad bit. I want to go back into like the funeral thing a little bit. So I want to ask you, like, when the family comes to see the remains, right? And you've done all you can, right? And they are not happy or totally not satisfied. How does that work? Like, do you guys go and try to do more, or do you just tell them the truth? Like, what? How does that part work?
So I'll tell you kind of way I handle that. I'll always do pictures, right? Because most of the time we don't and I can only talk about black folks because I'm black, right?
Hmm.
We don't communicate with each other. So maybe I haven't seen my uncle in 10 years and I haven't been there daily to see his decline in health, right? So I'll take a picture what we start out with and what the
Hmm.
finish, right? So if I do have those discrepancies, this is what we started with. Maybe he was in a tragic accident, car accident or something like that. This is what happened. This is what the person looked like when I received them. And this is what our finished product is of what we were able to do for your loved one. And most
Okay.
of the time they'll say, oh my God, I didn't know that. Or I didn't know they gained like 120 more pounds,
Right.
because in our mind, we're thinking the embalming fluid blew them up, and that's a myth, right? Embalming fluid don't blow you up. That's just
Okay.
a myth going through the Black community, and we go in there again, what we've heard, and we don't go about what we know, right?
Right.
And so, but actually, the person had health issues, and they retained fluids, and throughout that history of the health issues that they were going back and forth to the doctor with, they actually the body retained fluids because of the health condition, and so that's what made them look a little heavier than normal, right? And so I have to explain that, and there's a lot of education in there that we have to provide to families.
Okay. So check this out. How long should a body remain out the ground or out of cremation? Like how long? And I know different races can do different things. I'm assuming that's what I've heard. But how long do you think a person should actually stay, or the body should stay out of the ground?
A normal time would be a week to 2 weeks. A
Okay.
normal week to 2 weeks. Um, Yeah. And so a lot of times, sometimes if you see somebody that's staying out a little longer than a week or 2 weeks, it's mainly because of financial reasons,
For
fundraising.
money.
It's fundraising. It's to get to this
Mhm.
goal we're trying to get to. Most of the families that have something in place and have their money accessible to them, um, then they're able to do things a lot faster. And so you'll see that dwindle down to a week or two. Um, but most of the time, it's financial.
Okay. I want to ask you another question. So I know this probably don't have a lot to do with you and what you actually do, but I wonder why. Well, maybe I should ask it a couple of ways. So first, I'm gonna say, when we attend the funeral, in most cases, at the end of the funeral, they open the casket back up and then they bring the body over to the family, and it just seems like it's just overwhelming. So, do you think that is that because we asked for that, or is that just routine?
So it's because we ask for it, right? Most pastors or ministers that do a funeral, they're trying to get you into a place where you feel comfortable about the death, right? Where you feel
Hmm.
a bit more better. Mom's going to a better place, dad's going to a better place. And, we're continuing holding on to the legacies of their life and the memories and those type of things. Then you bring them right back down to ground zero, right? With opening the casket back. But that's a lot of times because the families requested that a final viewing is what we'll call it. So what I try to provide for my families is I would do a private viewing before the church service, right? So you
Hmm.
spent some private time mourning before the public actually see you mourn.
Hmm.
I'll provide
Okay.
because I want you to first of all make sure mom or dad looks great for the public viewing, but also to spend some private time with your loved one so you can grieve privately. And I think that's really important for the grieving process so that you not screaming and shouting and spending all of your intricate moments with the public seeing you grieve, if that makes sense.
It makes sense. So, Sean, you stated, we're going to go back just a little bit because you stated that you want to make sure that they're happy with the way they look and everything like that. Sometimes, and I know you talked about, you show them a picture and you say, hey, this is what happened and this is where we are now. But is it occasions more often than not that you may go back and put some more makeup on or do something different?
Oh, of course. Maybe this is what maybe the lipstick I chose wasn't the lipstick that they wanted, or
Okay.
I've had things where they wanted another shirt or a blouse, or this particular wig didn't look appropriate, or something like that. But and so you have things like that where
Okay.
you might need a little bit more makeup for concealment purposes or something.
Okay. And then Sean, like in the services, like when you're talking to the family and they're like making their arrangements and getting everything together for the service, at any time, do you guys, even though I know like you are more into it than most probably, or maybe not, I don't really know, but do you like offer some type of assistance as far as like, hey, you can go here for like counseling, like you can go over here. Like these people, I know you stated that you'll help them find places to help financing or where they can get extra funding. But as far as like the grieving process, do you guys offer like a list of people that they can go to for as far as counseling, as far as just like little sessions or things like that? Do you offer that?
So what we do is I'm pretty much attached with the Blueprint Partnerships. So when I say Blueprint Partnership, it's a group of non-for-profit organizations that's attached with the city of Champaign and Urbana
Hmm.
and Champaign. And so and I kind of helped start that. It's called a community coalition that's attached to. And so we provide those services and those organizations that do provide those services to our families. And so most of the mothers, like some of the mothers that's in my gun violence group, I didn't do funerals for them, but I offer that as extension to them to be able to offer services to them to be able to agree, because one of the ways that I'm going to combat gun violence and retaliatory gun violence is getting with mom and offering her these services, because if mom's not good, the kids ain't good. And so if I
Right.
get mom in a place, then I can get the family in a better, and I can build a relationship, because I didn't do the funeral for them. I can now build a relationship with them to have that intricate conversation with them to say, maybe these weren't good parenting skills that you might have used with your son. So now we can change your parenting skills, and now we can apply them to your daughter and get her to college. And so
Good.
it's very important to get that that trauma support that you're talking about. And even if it wasn't a gun violence or a murder, I mean, just getting you into a better place, um, you know, just off of a loss, helps you move a little bit better in life.
Yeah, it does. Now, do your funeral home, do anybody just give you guys donations? Like, do any community people just come in and say, hey, here's $5,000 for whoever may need it, or here, put this in a fund? Do you receive benefits like that
No,
or help like that?
there is no organizations that just without you reaching out give you money for just in case.
But when you do reach out, do you get help?
So I do get a lot of support from various organizations, churches. Um, but I keep it straight 100 across the board, Rochelle.
I get it.
It's not a lot of us in the African
Okay.
American community, right? A lot of our churches are outside of the Black community that donate. I've had some Caucasian churches that reached out during a tragedy and said, "Hey, look, Shon, we're going to pay for the funeral. Just keep it simple, and we'll pay the bill."
Oh,
And
yeah.
we never have that type of stuff. I've had major, like I've sent families to an African American church, and they say, well, in order to give $25, mom has to come to a Bible class, and I tell them to keep it. Just tell them don't worry about it, just keep it, because $25 is not going. I mean, she's not in a condition to receive anything out of Bible class. So to
Yeah.
get the $20 donation, you know what I'm saying, is, I mean, it's needless.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk about, well, I always say, I'll ask you one more question, but then it'd be like three or four more questions. So I ask you about this because this is what I found out, and I don't think a lot of people know that the funeral home is the one that actually puts in for the death certificate.
Yes,
So
yes,
without when they say, hey, I need 5 death certificates, I get that part, but you're actually the person that's sending it to the state saying that this person is deceased, how they were deceased, and all of that. Is that correct?
correct. And so when I'm doing a fundraising funeral, right, and
Hmm.
I know we fundraised, or we're fundraising, or we're going to the process of about to do a funeral, but the person asks me about a death certificate. Me knowing insurance and me being in the funeral home industry, I already know that they've been in touch with some financial institution that's requiring them to provide proof, which through a death certificate is proof that a person passed away and how they passed away, because depending on how they passed away determines on the benefit. what
Right,
what benefit. If it was an accidental death, it might be double indemnity, so it might be double the amount of the life insurance policy.
right.
And that automatically raises the red flag with me, especially if they're not trying to provide this information upfront of insurance. I know that
Okay.
talking to a bank, and the bank says, okay, in order to get in mom's account, then you need to provide a death
That's
certificate and a small estate affidavit. And a small estate affidavit allows that person to say, I'm the legal or responsible person to take care of mom's business, right? And I want to throw this in there. A lot of times, as African American people, we don't have a will. So
right. Mm-hmm.
what we'll do is we'll say, well, I don't have much. Well, your little bit that you think you might not have might be a lot to a person at the end of death, right? And so that $700 is in the bank, or your home, or the car. It goes to the oldest child, and the oldest child might not be the child that's more business savvy. That
Mm-hmm.
might be that squanders everything. So if you don't have a will in place, by law, it's going to go, and most states are that way, that it's going to go to the oldest kid. That oldest kid might be on drugs. That youngest kid might not. That youngest
Right.
kid business savvy, and that's going to hold on to the legacy and make sure the home and the taxes get paid, and all of these other things that need to take care to keep the legacy going on that mom and dad didn't work so hard for. But if it goes to the oldest child, that stuff can go overnight. What you worked for 40 years can leave overnight.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with that being said, then we need to work more also to get our wills completed.
Get more wills completed. Um, just the just the education to the family at whole, as a whole. I always say we should start there, in the African American community. Um, you know, and this is probably a little bit off the subject, but one of the things that's happening across this country right now is they're putting a moratorium on Section 8, right? So 2 years on Section 8 or any housing program, and then you're off, right? So I'm preaching to the communities now, like, look, man, you might have to go back and apologize to your auntie, because if she's the person that's or childcare, so they got a moratorium on childcare. So if she's the person that's retired in the family and she can really watch these kids while you at work, you might need to go back and build your relationship up with auntie and tell auntie,
Yeah.
hey, look, about our argument about 4 or 5 years ago. Most of the time, when somebody die or something like that, we don't even know what we mad about. We just mad. We still mad because my mama was mad at her, or whatever the case might be. So building our families back up is key towards the
Yeah.
success and the legacy of the families. Because as they tighten up these these economic policies that they're going through and the government's going through, then we're going to need our families more than ever, right?
Yeah.
And people that we can count on the most. So building those relationships, educating our families,
Yeah.
being honest with our families, getting those dark secrets out that got us hurt anyway, right? Getting
Yeah.
those out, expressing those things. Hey, look, we know this might have not have been right back in the 60s. Okay. Moving forward, this is how we're going to operate, our operating process now. And so a lot of things that I've learned in the funeral home business, I try to implement it within my family so that our family starts seeing something different. So one of the things I learned from another older lady, when birthdays happen, then we gather around, we hold our hands, we pray, and then we say something good about the person or something bad about the person to get that out in the family so that we can get past that, right? And that's the
That's
way
good.
that's the way we kind of do it in our family. And we'll do that during holidays too. We'll meet at a certain time before we eat. We'll have that round circle, and we express our love for that particular holiday and us being to express it together. And then we'll talk about the individual, or we'll talk about the group as a whole.
That's really good. One more question. This is going to be my final one for real. What do you think is the most common reason for deaths right now? Do you think it's gun violence? Do you think it's sickness? I'm not talking about young people or old people. I'm just talking about period, like really kind of amongst us. Do you think it's gun violence or do you think it's just something different? Heart attacks? Like, what do you think based on the information that you have?
Yeah, and that's a broad one, right? So I'm gonna give you a couple of things. You remember that question, so I'm gonna get the biggest threat to us right now is social media because
Okay.
don't use it properly, right? We don't use our phones properly. We have a we have we have an educational institution in our hands every day that's
Hmm.
misutilized, right? We're using it to tear people down and gossip and follow our favorite influencer instead of using it what Chinese students and people that are educated abroad use it is to educate themselves to be at a better financial position, right? So I think that's one of the things that we use when we do with gun violence. Most of the gun violence are happening because of social media.
Hmm.
And somebody said something on Facebook, and this group talking about that particular group, and I'm giving you my location, and all of these different things that's leading up to the gun
And then
violence.
and then you video it, taping it
Exactly.
for other
And
people to watch.
exactly. And so that's one of the biggest threats. Another thing would be our health, right? Working on our health, uh, trying to discipline ourselves with health. I could do a funeral for somebody that died from um, heart disease, right? And the unhealthy food that this person died from, we gonna serve the same thing at the repast. We
Hmm.
don't change our mindset, right? This person,
Hmm.
this person died because of these type of eating habits. So one of the things that we should learn is like, and we need to probably exercise. We need to change our eating habits and those type of things so that we don't lead into the same thing. But we're going to continue to do the same things that we've been doing, expecting a different result, in which we won't get the result. We actually get the result of what that loved one passed away in because we're doing the same thing they were doing
Yep.
and changing the habits. Yeah.
Yep.
And so yeah, and that's the way Shon Williams said.
I love it. I love it. So I am going to say, like, do you have anything that you want to add? Anything you want to say?
um, the only thing that I would say is this, as far as my people, because I love my people. I'm always crying out, and one of the guys that's with me that teach a class with me, he said that I always put my Superman cape on, trying to save everybody. But I mean, I'm a firm believer in the Bible. You know, the Bible says that we should live and not die. And so the only way that we're going to be able to live and survive is, first of all, with each other. Second thing is educating ourselves and renewing our minds, learning something for yourself, not letting people tell you about their fears, their phobias, and you treating it with sound doctrine, and we holding our whole lives toward it. We're laying our hats on it, on what the on their fears, because
Hmm.
sometimes a lot of people are fearful because they were poisoned during their lifetime. You know, people told them they could never be. You can never have this. You couldn't live this type of lifestyle. And if God owns everything, I do believe we should have something. So you deserve to have something. We all deserve to have something. We shouldn't just be telling people at a funeral, life is they're in a better place. No, they ain't. This is Sean. I don't feel like that. When you saying to tell somebody they're in a better place, well, why can't we live this better lifestyle during our lifetime, and we shouldn't just get our mansion when we die? We have to change that aspect. We have to say,
Yeah.
hey, no, I'm going to help you get your mansion, because if you get your mansion, I'll get mine too. And we all shouldn't be jealous of each other because we're driving good, or we're learning how to budget our money, or we're learning how to invest.
Right.
And I see a lot of the jealousy and the envy and the hate, even when it comes down to some of our top celebrities. You know, even at their level, they're getting hate from each other or through social media because of the lifestyle that they're living. Everybody has their own individual journey, and you have to run your own race. And not be mad at somebody else's race and looking to the left or to the right, but just have tunnel vision on your race. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's exactly right.
God to get you to where you need to be at. And so a lot of times, um, it's not because I'm the smartest in the jar. I just don't do what everybody else do. I'm up early and I go to bed late. And so and it's trying to re-educate my mind about what somebody taught me or what I learned in church a long time ago, or blaming it on the police in my neighborhood or the pastor or anybody else, or what my mama didn't do. Or no, it's your life, and you have to do something about your life to make your life better.
You're right. You're right. I love you. And I'm
I,
so happy with the work that you are doing. And I understand that not just us as African Americans or Black people have to try to get it together and be more appreciative and more concerned, more empathy for what we got going on, but all of us, because we all got to live on this earth together at the end of the day. And we need to take care of not just the earth, but ourselves and our families and our communities and spread outwards. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to do. Um, and I'm just going in the direction that I'm being sent. So I really have enjoyed this opportunity to speak with you. I think you're a very wise man. And I think wisdom comes as we ask for it, right? So if we ask for it and we try to go and seek it, then we can get it. It's available to us. And that phone is called a smartphone, which means it can do a lot of different things. And like you said, it's held in our hand. I used to tell my son, like, he'd be asking me a question. I'd be like, boy, what's that phone you got? He'd be like, what? It's a smartphone. Ask it the question. You know what I'm saying? Because it has the answers that I may not have. We got encyclopedias right in our hand, and we're not doing anything but strolling on Facebook and Instagram and looking at pictures. You know what I'm saying? And when I started the podcast, I want the people to listen. I don't, it's not about pictures. It's not about entertainment. It's about truth and how people are feeling and how they're dealing with this grief thing and how us, we need to get through it and get past it and learn how to deal with it in a better way. And part of that way is being prepared, which we can never be, but we can help ourselves with getting insurance, with knowing that we're going to pass, with getting wills, with talking to our family about, hey, this may happen. And when it does, because it may, not that it may, it will, but I don't know if you'll be here when it happens. But when it does, these are the things that are important to me. These are the things we need to do. And then we just need to reach back to our communities and our young Black men and Black women and hey, give them a hand because everything is like moving so fast and so against them and they so confused. So yeah, I get it. I get it. I appreciate you. I'm glad for the good work that you're doing. When we end the podcast, we're going to have everything listed there so you know people can reach out to you. I'm hoping that it's an impact on everybody that gets the opportunity to listen. And I thank you.
well, I appreciate you. My hat goes out to you with channeling your own personal grief into a podcast to be able to help somebody else because that's a great segment. I talked to my mothers about how do you change other people's lives through the grief that you're going through. And this is a great segue for you to be able to, kind of handle your own grief with the loss of your son. So my heart goes out to you about your son, but you're doing something about it. And I'm proud of you for that.
Thank you so very much.